PayGlobal has a standard suite of reports that customers can use for reporting on many aspects of PayGlobal. In this video, we will look at how to run reports, provide examples of frequently used reports, explain report settings, and modeling reports. The standard report codes all start with PG. The MYOB Help Center has a standard report catalog on the MYOB Help Center that contains information and examples on all the standard PayGlobal reports. To locate and view the catalog, go to the Help Center, then Reporting, and click on the Standard Reports Catalog manual link. If you require a report that is not in your standard report catalog, please contact support or your strategic account manager to organize consulting to design one for you. Local folders manage messages that users have sent or received in PayGlobal. Local folders act like a print queue that stores all of your spooled reports, and the message files included as part of the backup save all information in these folders. We recommend deleting old files from local folders on a regular basis. This will help you to optimize database performance. The inbox, outbox, sent items, deleted items, and the send and receive function, which all relate to reporting. The supervisor field on the user profile controls the messages that you can view. If you select this checkbox, you will see all messages. If you don't, you will only see messages that have been sent or addressed to you. The inbox. The default setting for a report is to send to the user's inbox, which sends the report to the inbox of the user that generated the report. Sending reports to the inbox enables you to view the report to confirm it is correct before you email or save it to file or print the report. The inbox holds the reports until someone manually deletes them. Files or reports are held in the outbox until the send and receive function is used. The system automatically moves files from the outbox to sent items after they are successfully sent. Additionally, the Sent Items folder stores a copy of all reports that PayGlobal emails or transfers. The Deleted folder contains items deleted from the inbox, outbox, or sent items, and can be used as a backup in case you accidentally delete a file. You can only send and receive reports that you have generated under your own login. The pay period calculation listing is used to reconcile payroll before closing the pay and submitting it to the bank. This report identifies which employees will be paid and how they will be paid. Before running a report, you need to edit the report settings. Let's look at how to run the pay period calculation listing and modify its settings. Go to Reports, Report Groups, and double-click on the Primary Reports report group. Right-click on the pay period calculation listing and select Edit Report Settings. Select the pay sequence that you want to run the report on and click OK. Next, select the options that you want to include in your report. You can select Print Main Report, Show Job Code, Transaction Text, Print Summary, Payroll Summary, or exclude terminated employees and Show Super. Next, select the Departments tab. If you want to run the report and include all employees from all departments in the pay sequence selected, you do not need to select any options. However, if you want to run the report for certain departments, you will select them. In this example, let's run it for all departments. Note, this also applies to location and cost centers. On the Sorting tab, let's sort by employee name. You can sort by department, location, program, service, cost center, or without sorting. Alternatively, you can sort by employee code. On the Report Splitting tab, we will leave it as Don't Split the Report. Now let's run the report. The first section of the report is the employee transaction data or payment information. Here, you can see the employee name, transactions that have been processed, and PAYG. Next is the summary. The summary will show how many employees have been paid, the gross, PAYG, and any other totals. Now we will look at the payroll summary. The payroll summary will list all of the transactions paid and their totals. And finally, the direct credits will show you what has been paid via direct credit and can be balanced to other reports. We will now look at how to run the File Analysis Detailed Report. It lists the total amount and quantity for all employee transactions based on the settings used. Open Report Groups and double-click on the Transaction History Reports report group. Then, right-click on the File Analysis Detailed CSV and select Edit Report Settings. In this report, you can select the following types of periods to include on the report: pay sequences, period to date, month to date, year to date, and date range. In this example, select Pay Sequences. From the Pay Sequences list, select the sequences you want to run in this report, and click OK. You can run this report for payroll sequences or actual sequences. In this example, select Payroll Sequences. In the Standard Manual field, both is selected. If you only select Standard, then only standard pays will show in the Pay Sequences listing. The Include Non-Paying field refers to non-paying allowances like superannuation, allowances, and on-cost allowances. We will leave this as Yes to include. The Transaction Type field displays allowances, deductions, or both. By selecting both, the system will display all allowances and deductions for this pay sequence. The Allowances and Deductions tab allows you to report on specific allowances and deductions. Select the allowances or deductions you would like reported. Alternatively, leave them unselected to see all available allowances and deductions in the pay sequences selected. On the Employees tab, you can select an employee from the list to view their individual record, or leave it blank to run the report for all employees. You can also choose to include or exclude terminated employees from the report, or to run it only for them. Then, there are departments, locations, programs, or services. Leave these tick boxes unselected if you want them all reported. Click on the Query tab. You can add queries here if needed, such as award code, employee code, and location code. On the Sorting tab, select employee.employee code from the list and tick Totals. You can sort by other options such as period end, cost center, general ledger code, transcode, or transtype if required. On the Report Splitting tab, in the Entity Name field, we'll leave this as Don't Split This Report, as we want just the one report to generate. Now, let's run the report. The report will appear and display all employees in the pay sequence. For each employee, the report will show their employee naming code, the quantity and amount paid for all transactions in the period, the rate, factor, and date, and whether it's a manual pay or a standard pay. The Australian A4 Designer Payslip is a standard Australian payslip that meets all current legislative requirements and most common non-legislative needs. It can be run without client-specific customization, and it can be copied and modified to suit specific needs that are not provided in the basic payslip template. Customers can also obtain an SSRS report designed for them by consulting to use. We will look at how to run the A4 Designer Payslip report, using report splitting to save the employees' payslips to their Documents tab, which can then be viewed in ESS. Go to Reports, Report Groups, and double-click on the Primary Reports report group. Right-click on the A4 Designer Payslip and select Edit Report Settings. On the Pay Sequences and Transactions tab, you can select the period type to include, such as Pay Sequences, Date Range, and Month to Date. We will select Pay Sequences. On the Settings tab, you can add a message to the payslip, select the classification to be displayed, choose whether to include the company's ABN on the payslip, and set the payment date for the payslip. Back on the Pay Sequences tab, select the pay sequence you want to run the payslip for, then click OK. In this option, you can display standard pays, manual pays, or both. Let's go with both. Set the Include Non-Paying field to Yes. This will display non-paying allowances such as superannuation and other on-costs on the payslip. On the Virtual Payslip tab, you can select a number of options relating to what the payslip displays. Print zero pays. For example, you might print a payslip showing a $0 amount for employees on leave without pay. Include zero transactions. When Yes is selected, this includes transactions such as leave without pay on the payslip. Print only if different. When yes is selected, the system will generate a payslip only if it is different from the previous pay. Let's change this to no. Consolidate hourly transactions. When yes is selected, the same hourly transactions will be combined by allowance code. For example, if you process 3 entries of ordinary hours in Transaction View, the payslip will display one line for ordinary hours for the total amount and quantity on the payslip. Consolidate by rate/code only. When yes is selected, this will consolidate the allowances with the same allowance code or rate code. Consolidate non-paying allowances. When yes is selected, the system will consolidate non-paying allowances with the same allowance code. Consolidate annual leave transactions. When yes is selected, the system will consolidate multiple entries of annual leave processed into one transaction shown on the payslip. Consolidate transaction factor. When yes is selected, the system will consolidate the same allowances with the same factor into one transaction to show on the payslip. And annual salary. You can show the annualized salary or the REM package annualized salary amount on the payslip or select none. On the Superannuation tab, select which superannuation allowances and deductions are displayed on the payslip by changing them to yes. On the Superannuation Funds tab, select which superannuation funds to display on payslips. If you want to display all employee superannuation funds, do not select any funds. On the Employees tab, you can select an employee from the list to run the individual payslip, or leave it blank to run it for all employees. You can also choose to include or exclude terminated employees from the report or to run it only for them. Then, there are departments, locations, programs, or services. Leave these tick boxes unselected if you want to include them all on the payslips. Click on the Query tab. You can add queries here if needed, such as department code, employee code, and any options you want. On the Sorting tab, we will sort by employee code. You can also sort by options such as period code, period end, and pay sequence. The Report Splitting tab is where you can set up the payslip to split into separate reports for individual employees. In the Entity Name field, select Employee, and in the Consolidate by field, select Employee Code. This will split all the payslips by employee code. Next, click on the Edit button. When the Report Destination screen appears, scroll and click on the Document Options tab. Tick Document Management. In the Format field, select the format that you want to use. This will generally be PDF. In the File Name field, enter asterisks and the file name if you want the employee code to be part of the file name for the payslip report. In the field containing file name override, select Employee Code. This will replace the asterisks with the employee code in the file name. Now click on Edit Document Settings. Select the folder to store the payslips, for example, Pay Advices. Next, tick Publish to Self-Service to allow employees to view payslips in self-service. Click OK, and click OK again. Finally, click Run Report. You can see the report is splitting by employee code as it's generating. Once the report finishes running, you'll see the payslips on screen. After previewing, close the report, then close the report group and go to the Outbox. In the Outbox, you can see that all the payslips listed here waiting to be sent to the document folder and attached to the employee's record. Double-click on Send and Receive. You can see all the payslips have been sent. Click Yes to view the audit log file where it shows that they have been sent to each employee code in self-service. Now, let's close the log file. If you go into an employee record, and then into the document folder, you or anyone with view access to PayGlobal will see the payslip listed there for the employee. Most reports are automatically set up to go to the PayGlobal inbox, but you can set up reports to be emailed or saved as a file to a directory when you run the report. In this example, we will change the destination settings for the History Analysis Detailed Report CSV we ran earlier by editing its destination format. Go to Reports, Report Groups, and double-click on the Transaction History Reports. Next, right-click on the File Analysis Detailed CSV report and select Edit Destination Format. On the Destination Options tab, the Send to Inbox may be selected. You can unselect this if you do not want to send the report to the PayGlobal inbox. On the Email Options tab, you can send the report via email to an email address or to multiple email addresses. To activate this option, tick Email and select the format you want to send the report as, for example, PDF. In the File Name field, type in the name of the report that you want to send, for example, historyreport.pdf. Untick Use Compression, and then enter the email address or addresses you want to send the report to. Use a semicolon to separate multiple email addresses. Click OK to save the changes. On the File Options tab, you can send the report to a network drive. To activate this, click Save to File. Select the format for this report to be sent, for example, PDF. In the File Name field, enter the file name of the report you want to send, including the network directory path. If you are hosted by MYOB PayGlobal Online, you will need to use the following format to save to your own network drive. For example, //tsclient, enter the drive that you want to save it to, like the C drive, add the folder that you want to save it to, and the report name. Then, untick Use Compression if it's selected and click OK to save the settings. Now, let's look at how to add a report to a report group, create a new report group, and modeling reports to other groups. You may have a standard set of reports you regularly run, and you can create a report group to store them for easy access. To create a new report group, go to Reports, click on Report Groups, press Insert on your keyboard or right-click and select Add Record. Enter a code for your report group, like payroll. This code can be up to 12 characters long. Next, enter a description for your report group and click Save. To add a report to a report group, open the report group and click Edit. Right-click in the Report section and select Add Record. Select the report definition from the list. In this example, we will add Audit Report. Click Select and then Save and Close. The report has now been added to the group. You can save and close the report group now. Next, let's look at modeling a report to a report group. You will use this if you want a report located in a different group and added to another report group. When you model the report, it also copies the settings from the original report. To do this, open the report group the report currently exists in. Click on Edit. Then, right-click on the report you want to copy and select Model Record. You can also press Ctrl-M on your keyboard. Select the report group you want to add it to and click OK. Save and close the report group. Now, go to the report group you just modeled the report to and open it. Here, you can see the copied report in this report group. If you want to add multiple copies of the same report to a group, you will follow the Model Report Group process, but will also need to change the report so that it differentiates it from the other copies in the same report group. To do this, open your report group and click Edit. Then, right-click on the report and Model Record. Select the report group you want to copy it to and click OK. You can complete this multiple times. We need to change the report code so the reports are different. While still in edit mode, double-click on the report. Then, click Edit and in the report field, change the report code. In this example, we will put an A at the end. Save and close. We will also need to repeat these steps for the other two reports that are the same. We'll put a B on one and a C on the other. This means that changing the report settings on this report will not affect the other two reports. Finally, close the report group. In PayGlobal, some reports allow you to apply period or internal company filtering, limiting the sequences and employees displayed to the selected option. To set period internal company filtering, open the report group and click Edit. Next, double-click on the report you want to edit. Then click on the Internal Company Filtering tab and click Edit. Select the period code you want to run this report for and click Save. The report will now show the sequences for the fortnightly period for the internal company per global fortnightly. You can now run your report. When you run the direct credit report, it creates a report on screen as well as the text file you need to upload to the bank to pay your employees. The location where the direct credit text file is saved is set up on the period record. To view this, go to Organisation, General Periods and Periods. Open the period to view the path of where the file is being saved, as well as the file name in the alternate direct credit export file name field. If you are hosted by PayGlobal Online, the file name field will include tsclient/c in the name. To run the direct credit report, go to Reports, Report Groups, and double-click on Primary Reports. Right-click on the direct credit schedule and select Edit Report Settings. Select the pay sequence or sequences from the list that you want in the report and click OK. Select the format, if not already selected. Most Australian banks use the U-Australian format NAB. With no other settings needing changes, we are ready to run the report. The report shows the bank account details and the total direct credits. Click Close. As the setting is set to Save to File, the direct credit text file and the direct credit file report will be listed in the outbox. If you right-click to customize columns, you can add the destination address, destination type, and file name. Finally, click OK, and you can see that the top file is going to the C drive and the bottom one is going to the local file.